In the year 1977, deep in the arid heart of the American Southwest, a small team of explorers stumbled upon something that would challenge the very foundations of American history. Hidden within the labyrinthine caverns of the Grand Canyon, they found what appeared to be the remnants of an ancient subterranean city. Vast chambers carved with precision, stone idols bearing unfamiliar faces, and hieroglyphs that bore striking resemblance to those of ancient Egypt. It was an archaeological revelation that promised to rewrite everything known about pre-Columbian civilizations. But as swiftly as the news surfaced, it was buried. The Smithsonian Institution, once thought to be the guardian of truth, allegedly intervened, sealing records and silencing witnesses. The Grand Canyon has always held mysteries. To the Navajo, it was a place where the first people emerged from the underworld. To explorers, it was an unforgiving labyrinth of stone and silence. Yet beyond its beauty lies an unspoken rule. Certain areas are forbidden. Federal maps show restricted zones, areas where neither tourists nor researchers are allowed. It was within one such zone that the 1977 expedition ventured, guided by whispers of caves with Egyptian markings and rooms filled with golden artifacts. What began as a scientific exploration soon turned into a silent battle against secrecy, a confrontation between discovery and denial. At the heart of the 1977 expedition was a geologist named Dr. Michael Stanton, a quiet, methodical man who believed science was about truth, not politics. His journal, later leaked in fragments, tells of a descent through a narrow fissure that opened into a colossal underground hall. Columns, he wrote, not natural formations but built by hands long gone. Stanton described chambers filled with relics of unfamiliar metallurgy and carvings of figures with elongated skulls and crossed arms. Days later, Stanton vanished. The official report claimed a fall accident, but those who knew him spoke of strange phone calls, confiscated photographs, and government agents who arrived before the rescue team. Decades before Stanton's disappearance, in 1909, a man named G. Kincaid had told a remarkably similar story. Employed by the Smithsonian, Kincaid claimed to have found a lost civilization within the canyon's depths, one blending Egyptian and Asian influences. His account, published briefly in the Arizona Gazette, described statues of the Buddha, copper tools, and a vast mausoleum holding mummified remains. The Smithsonian swiftly denied any involvement, and Kincaid's name was scrubbed from their archives. To historians, it became myth. But in 1977, Stanton's discovery revived the legend, suggesting that perhaps Kincaid hadn't lied at all, but rather uncovered a truth too dangerous for the establishment to accept. Among the items recovered from Stanton's excavation was a single relic, a black basalt tablet inscribed with symbols that no modern linguist could easily interpret. Some saw Egyptian hieroglyphs. Others noted resemblance to early Hopi iconography. The tablet vanished weeks after it was sent to Washington for analysis. Freedom of Information Act requests decades later yielded no record of its existence. But a faded Polaroid photograph, smuggled out by one of Stanton's assistants, revealed a haunting detail. The tablet's centerpiece depicted a solar disk above a pyramid flanked by two rivers. To the initiated, it was unmistakable, a map, perhaps, to a forgotten civilization buried beneath America's most iconic landmark. When journalists began asking questions about the 1977 find, the Smithsonian issued a single statement: no such expedition occurred. Yet, internal memos later revealed that a private archaeology contract had been granted that same year under the classification Geological Survey. Why the deception? Former employees, speaking anonymously, described a culture of suppression, one where discoveries that contradicted mainstream timelines were quietly shelved. It's not that they destroy evidence, one insider explained. They simply lock it away until the world is ready. The question that haunted Stanton's colleagues was chilling. Ready for what? What secret could possibly justify rewriting the ancient story of the Americas? The Colorado River, ancient and merciless, carved more than just a canyon. It carved time itself. According to Stanton's final notes, the team followed a dry tributary tunnel beneath the riverbed into a system of chambers extending for miles. There, they found what he called a necropolis, a city of the dead. Walls were covered in carvings of boats with oars and sun symbols, suggesting an ancient maritime culture. But one engraving stood apart, a procession of figures entering a cave beneath a massive canyon, the very image of their own journey. It was as though the ancient builders had anticipated visitors, leaving behind both a warning and an invitation. Months after Stanton's disappearance, a folded parchment was mailed anonymously to the Arizona Republic. It contained a crude sketch of the Grand Canyon marked with red ink, an X deep within the Marble Canyon region, labeled Temple of R.A. The handwriting matched Stanton's field notes. The map was dismissed as a hoax, until geologists confirmed the coordinates led to a section of the canyon long, restricted by federal order. Attempts to access the site were blocked by park rangers, citing safety hazards. But satellite images, analyzed years later, revealed unusual geometric anomalies beneath the surface, rectangular voids inconsistent with natural formations. For the Hopi and Zuni tribes, the Grand Canyon is not merely geography, it is memory. Their legends speak of the Sipapuni, the place of emergence, where their ancestors rose from the underworld after a great flood. Elders tell of ant people who sheltered humans in subterranean cities until the waters receded. Could the 1977 discovery have uncovered one of these mythic realms? Anthropologists scoffed, but the similarities were undeniable. Stanton's descriptions, chambers, idols, solar motifs, echoed the Hopi's sacred cosmology. If myth and archaeology aligned, it meant the canyon was more than erosion and stone. It was a library, one that recorded the rise and fall of forgotten worlds. By early 1978, the site was sealed. Helicopters from an unnamed federal agency airlifted equipment out of the canyon under cover of night. Journalists who pressed the issue found themselves blacklisted. Stanton's surviving crew scattered abroad. To this day, no official record exists of the expedition, and the caves remain absent from geological surveys. But the whispers endure of a city older than Egypt, buried beneath the Grand Canyon, and a truth buried beneath bureaucracy. Whether legend or cover-up, one fact remains. History is written by those who control the evidence. And in 1977, that evidence vanished into the canyon's eternal shadows. Among the recovered remnants of the 1977 expedition were several reel-to-reel audio tapes. They were recordings of interviews, geological readings, and diary reflections made by Stanton and his crew. But when archivists later opened the evidence case, the tapes were blank. The magnetic reels had been deliberately demagnetized. Only one remained partially intact. Its faint audio captured a single, trembling voice. They were right. It's all connected. Then static. Investigators concluded it was an accidental erasure, yet the timing felt too convenient. Those who listened to the partial recording described a faint background echo, not of machinery or water, but chanting. Ancient, rhythmic, as if the past was trying to speak through the static one final time. Inside the Smithsonian's vast storage facilities lie millions of artifacts never displayed to the public. Anthropologists call it the Vault of Forgotten History. Former employees, under confidentiality, have admitted that some items are stored not for study, but for protection. There are things, one curator whispered, that don't fit the timeline. Objects that suggest pre-Columbian contact with the Old World, or civilizations with advanced metallurgy before recorded history. The 1977 Grand Canyon relics, it's said, were quietly added to those vaults. When questioned, Smithsonian representatives insist such claims are conspiracy theory. Yet one wonders, what kind of truth requires this much protection from the public it belongs to? Local river guides still tell stories of nights when strange lights flicker beneath the canyon walls, cold, blue glows deep within fissures tourists never see. Some dismiss them as phosphorescent minerals or tricks of moonlight on the water. Others insist they're remnants of the lost city's torch chambers, or something older. Geological scans conducted in the late 1990s showed pockets of air extending hundreds of meters into the earth, structured like man-made corridors. Officially, these are dismissed as lava tubes. Yet, to those who remember Stanton's notes, they match his sketches exactly. The canyon seems alive, breathing secrets through stone, waiting for someone brave enough to listen again. A man named Daniel Reeves, a retired U.S. Geological Survey cartographer, broke his silence in 1993. He revealed he'd been part of the map authentication team reviewing Stanton's findings before the cover-up. "We were told to label it as a collapsed cave system," Reeves recalled. "But those lines were too straight, too perfect, like the hand of an architect." When Reeves requested the maps for personal archiving, his access was revoked. A week later, his home office was burglarized, but only his canyon charts were taken. Reeves would later draw the same formations from memory, publishing them in a limited-run geological paper. It was titled simply, "The Architecture of Stone." The Hopi elders speak of the Casanata, the people beneath, guardians of forbidden knowledge. They say that beneath the Colorado Plateau lies a realm of eternal light, where the ancestors preserved wisdom before the world's last great cataclysm. When the explorers vanished in 1977, tribal elders from Hotevilla issued a statement. They went where they were not invited. To the Hopi, the Grand Canyon's depths are not to be disturbed. It is sacred ground, a living being. Archaeologists often dismiss these beliefs as myth. But what if the myth is memory? What if the ancients truly recorded their exodus in stone, waiting for modern man to rediscover what he forgot? Among the samples smuggled out by Stanton's team was a fragment of metallic alloy unlike any found in North America. When later analyzed at a private lab in Flagstaff, the results were confounding. The alloy contained traces of tin, copper, and an unknown crystalline structure that resisted classification. Its surface was etched with what appeared to be microglyphs, markings too small to carve by hand. The lab's report vanished after government agents visited the facility. But the technician who ran the scan, Ana Castillo, later testified in a closed interview. It wasn't a tool or weapon. It was a piece of technology, something meant to last forever. In April of 1978, 6 months after the expedition vanished, a park ranger named Paul Richter reported an unauthorized helicopter landing near Tower Butte, close to the alleged cave entrance. He described men in unmarked uniforms carrying metallic crates, escorted by 2 black sedans. When Richter attempted to photograph the scene, his camera malfunctioned. Hours later, his radio went dead. By morning, the helicopter and men were gone. Richter's report never appeared in official logs. Years later, when interviewed by a journalist, he said quietly, "Whatever's down there, they're guarding it like a crown jewel, not of gold, but of history." Leaked notes from Stanton's assistant, Dr. Emily Hart, detailed what she called Chamber 9. Inside, she described rows of sarcophagi, each sealed with a golden sun symbol. The air was still, dry, and faintly perfumed, as if preserved intentionally. In one chamber stood a massive statue of a seated figure wearing a headdress strikingly similar to the Egyptian Aten crown. "It's as if the canyon swallowed a pharaoh," she wrote. Hart's notes ended abruptly with a final line. "We are not the first to find this place. Someone has been here before us, recently." She disappeared 2 days later. In late 1978, a shortwave radio enthusiast from Utah picked up a mysterious transmission on a government frequency. The voice, distorted and trembling, repeated a sequence of numbers and the words, "Canyon, beneath the sun." Experts later decoded the transmission as coordinates, ones that matched the Marble Canyon restricted zone. The signal lasted only 47 seconds before cutting off. To some, it was a prank. To others, it was Stanton's last attempt to reveal the truth. The coordinates corresponded to an area now marked as environmentally hazardous, permanently closed to the public. Yet no contamination reports have ever been filed. By the end of 1979, Every member of Stanton's core team was either missing, relocated abroad, or declared deceased. Their families were issued settlement checks under non-disclosure agreements. The only survivor, field photographer Richard Hale, resurfaced in 1985 under a pseudonym in New Mexico. In a rare interview, he described the caves as impossibly perfect, corridors cut by something beyond ancient chisels. "We were standing inside a machine made of stone," he whispered. "Something built to remember." When asked what he meant, Hale only smiled and said, "The canyon doesn't hide things. It keeps them until we're ready to see." In 1980, a Freedom of Information Act request was filed by journalist Thomas Wren, seeking documents related to the Grand Canyon Archaeological Survey, 1977. What he received instead was a 32-page packet of blacked-out text. Every line, every figure redacted, except one phrase stamped repeatedly across the top margin: Project Osiris. Wren spent the next decade pursuing the truth, tracing financial records to a private contractor linked to the U.S. Geological Survey and the Department of Defense. Why would a defense agency be interested in ancient ruins? When Wren's car was found abandoned near Page, Arizona, his notebooks were gone. His typewriter remained in the back seat. A single unfinished page still rolled inside. The past isn't buried, it's being guarded. Project Osiris. The name itself invoked the Egyptian god of resurrection, a symbol of life after death, rebirth after destruction. Was the codename a coincidence or a clue? According to leaked internal memos, Osiris was a joint Smithsonian military initiative exploring cross-cultural diffusion anomalies. In simpler terms, evidence that ancient civilizations may have shared technology and knowledge long before modern history acknowledges contact. The Grand Canyon site, with its Egyptian-style relics, would have been ground zero for such an investigation. But when science threatened to blur political borders and biblical timelines, Osiris vanished from the records, and with it, any trace of a lost city's discovery. A set of architectural sketches, anonymously delivered to an Arizona State University historian in 1982, depicted a series of vast underground halls labeled with Greek letters. Each chamber's dimensions were precise, uniform, and symmetrical, like the floor plan of a temple complex. One central hall was labeled the Hall of R.A. Scholars debated its authenticity until carbon dating of the paper revealed it matched the 1970s era ink and composition. The historian, Dr. Lydia Monroe, claimed the measurements aligned perfectly with existing satellite data of the canyon substructure. Before she could publish her findings, her university funding was cut, and her research archive mysteriously caught fire. When archaeologists examined Stanton's surviving photographs, they noticed something striking about the carvings on the canyon walls. The inscriptions weren't purely Egyptian. They bore influences from Phoenician, Sanskrit, and even pre-Mayan scripts. It was as if the canyon city was a confluence of civilizations, a crossroads of the ancient world. Linguist Dr. Nathaniel Cross described it as a Rosetta Stone of migration. If real, it suggested that the Americas were not isolated in prehistory, but integral to a global network of ancient trade and knowledge. Such an idea would dismantle academic orthodoxy, and perhaps that, more than anything, was why the story had to vanish. Hopi shamans tell of stone seals placed at the entrances of forbidden caves to guard against those unworthy to enter. In 1983, hikers reported finding one such seal, a circular rock slab etched with a radiating sun symbol, near the Little Colorado tributary. Within days, the site was fenced off by the Park Service and marked unstable terrain. Locals who approached were reportedly turned away by armed personnel. When independent geologists later analyzed photographs, they found the pattern bore uncanny resemblance to seals found in ancient Thebes. The implication was terrifying. Whoever sealed the city below had connections to an empire half a world away. In 1984, under the guise of a geological inspection, a Smithsonian research convoy quietly entered the restricted Marble Canyon area. Local pilots reported several helicopter flights at night, carrying heavy crates. The official explanation: rock sample retrieval. But witnesses described metallic cases engraved with government seals and teams wearing radiation suits, though no radioactive material was ever reported. Afterward, all access roads were sealed for months. When reopened, new no trespassing signs appeared, not from the Park Service, but the U.S. Department of the Interior. It was as if the canyon had been reclassified, no longer a natural wonder, but a vault. In 1986, a team of hydrologists discovered an underground waterway flowing beneath the canyon's southern rim. Samples revealed mineral compositions unlike any other in the region, high in sodium silicate and trace gold particles. More curious still, the sonar readings showed perfect 90-degree turns in the water's channel, an impossibility in natural erosion. When they attempted to publish their findings, the data was confiscated by federal officials citing security protocols. One researcher, before being silenced, remarked, "It's as though the river was engineered, as if the ancients built it to power something. Could the lost city have once harnessed energy through water?" Decades after Stanton's death, a weathered basalt stone surfaced in a private collection in Prescott, Arizona. Its inscriptions matched the missing 1977 tablet, the solar disk, and the Twin Rivers. But this one contained an additional marking, a serpent coiling around the sun, biting its own tail. Ancient cultures called it the Ouroboros, symbol of eternity, cycles, and forbidden knowledge. Geologists confirmed the stone was authentic to the region and had been carved centuries before European contact. How it ended up in private hands remains unknown, but its presence reignited an old theory that the ancient city wasn't merely ceremonial, it was technological. In 1988, a PBS documentary titled Echoes of the Canyon scheduled an interview with a retired Smithsonian archivist willing to discuss the 1977 expedition. Hours before recording, the man canceled, citing federal pressure. The episode aired without him, but producers later discovered that all footage of the Grand Canyon segment had been erased from their storage drives. The archivist disappeared weeks later. His apartment was found empty except for a single cassette labeled "The Ones Below Remember." The tape contained only the sound of rushing water and a rhythmic pulse, like a heartbeat echoing through stone. Every legend begins as a whisper, and every whisper leaves an echo. Today, visitors still feel it, the sense that the Grand Canyon is watching. Its shadows shift like sentinels. Its winds carry faint murmurs from the depths. Whether the 1977 discovery was an archaeological miracle or a myth rewritten by fear, one truth endures: the canyon holds memory. And memory, once awakened, never sleeps. Somewhere beneath the endless strata of time, the lost city waits, not to be found, but to be remembered. For history cannot be erased, only delayed. The canyon endures, patient, silent, and eternal. In 1990, a weather-worn man appeared at a roadside diner near Flagstaff, claiming to be Richard Hale, the missing expedition photographer thought dead for over a decade. Locals said he looked haunted, his hands trembling as he clutched an old 35mm camera. Before disappearing again, Hale handed the diner's owner a sealed film canister and whispered, "Don't let them bury it twice." When developed, the film revealed 3 blurred images: a vast subterranean hall lit by torchlight, a winged statue with a sun disk crown, and what appeared to be a human silhouette in ceremonial garb facing the camera. Experts later confirmed the negatives were genuine and dated to the 1970s. Hale was never seen again. Those photographs circulated briefly among academic circles before being seized by federal agents. But one image, a low-resolution copy, leaked online in 1992 under the title Temple of R.A., Grand Canyon. It showed architectural symmetry impossible in nature. Columns aligned in golden ratio proportions, suggesting knowledge of advanced geometry. The Smithsonian dismissed the image as a forgery, yet digital analysis revealed no signs of manipulation. Historians who viewed it described a sense of scale beyond comprehension, a civilization that carved its cathedrals beneath the earth, not upon it. Within weeks, the image vanished from archives and search engines alike, as if the internet itself had been instructed to forget. Dr. Harold Kinsey, a respected archaeologist from the University of Chicago, broke academic silence in 1994. In a closed lecture, he revealed that in the late 70s he had been invited to examine artifacts of non-native origin stored in a Smithsonian subbasement. The craftsmanship was Egyptian, he confessed, yet the material was Arizona limestone. When Kinsey later attempted to publish his findings, his tenure was revoked for unprofessional conduct. He spent the remainder of his life privately lecturing on parallel civilizations. In his will, he wrote a single line: "History is not linear. It loops like the canyon itself." In 1995, NASA satellite imagery recorded a heat signature emanating from the canyon's marble ravine sector, a steady thermal pulse, as though something deep beneath was generating energy. Officials attributed it to geothermal activity, yet no volcanic features exist there. Independent researchers attempting ground verification were met by armed rangers. One scientist, using thermal drones, captured data showing a pattern. The heat arranged itself in concentric circles, resembling the symbol of Ra. If true, it suggested the ancient city was not a ruin, but a sleeping mechanism, something still active, still alive beneath the canyon floor. A decade later, hikers unearthed a small sandstone fragment bearing a spiral of glyphs similar to those on Stanton's tablet. When scanned under ultraviolet light, the carvings revealed micro-etchings forming a sequence of numbers, coordinates pointing not to the canyon, but to Giza, Egypt. Was it coincidence or deliberate connection? Linguists argued over its meaning, but one archaeomathic expert, Dr. Renee Foster, claimed the numbers corresponded to star alignments dated 10,500 BC, the same epoch theorized for the Sphinx's construction. Whoever built the canyon city, she said, was watching the same stars as the pharaohs, long before either civilization should have existed. By 1997, rafting guides began reporting strange phosphorescence in stretches of the Colorado near the restricted zone. At night, the river shimmered with a ghostly blue hue, forming shapes beneath the surface, geometric patterns that shifted like circuitry. The Park Service dismissed it as algae bloom, yet water samples showed no biological activity. Some guides described hearing a low hum, harmonic vibrations rising from below. It felt like the canyon was singing, one said. Sound engineers later confirmed frequencies near 432 Hz, a tone long associated with ancient sacred acoustics. Whatever resonated beneath those waters, it was following a rhythm older than history itself. In 1998, an anonymous package arrived at the Washington Post containing photocopies of correspondence between two Smithsonian administrators dated 1977. One line stood out. Per directive, all materials related to Stanton discovery fall under Osiris classification. Transfer to Quantico archives. The letters appeared authentic. The institution denied them outright. Yet the Quantico reference implied military custody, not academic preservation. When journalists attempted follow-up, they were met with silence and subtle threats of national security infringement. The message was clear. Whatever lay beneath the Grand Canyon was no longer history. It was classified technology. Geophysicists conducting magnetometric surveys in 1999 reported a peculiar phenomenon. The canyon walls emitted residual electromagnetic fields, as if charged from within. One researcher described a pulse, faint but rhythmic, identical to the frequency of a human heartbeat. Samples of rock from the area contained microscopic crystalline structures aligned like circuits. Some theorized they were remnants of piezoelectric technology, energy harnessed through vibration and stone. If the ancients engineered the canyon's rock to store power, the entire formation could have functioned as a colossal resonant temple, not merely carved by nature, but sculpted by intelligence. In 2001, a retired Air Force engineer named David Larson appeared on a late-night radio show claiming he had worked on subterranean mapping operations in the canyon. "We found chambers," he said, and we sealed them on orders from above. He described a hall lined with statues of figures not Egyptian, not native, something in between. Days after his interview, Larson's home was raided by federal agents, citing stolen documents. Nothing was found. He vanished soon after. His final recorded words on that broadcast still echo. They feared not what was inside. They feared what it would prove. By the dawn of the new millennium, the Grand Canyon mystery had become folklore, dismissed by scholars, whispered by dreamers. Yet fragments kept resurfacing. A photograph here, a coated stone there, the hum of energy beneath desert sands. The story refused extinction. Whether myth or suppressed truth, it continued to draw seekers, scientists, and skeptics to its rim. As the narrator's voice fades into the canyon's wind, one question lingers. What if the greatest discovery of the 20th century was not lost to time, but hidden from it? The canyon remains, vast and silent, a library of stone whose final chapter is still unwritten. By 2003, a new generation of independent researchers, archaeologists, drone pilots, and digital cartographers took up the trail Stanton had blazed. Calling themselves the Canyon Anomaly Project, they sought evidence not through excavation, but through data. Using ground-penetrating radar, they mapped faint geometric voids beneath the canyon floor, rectangular grids, perfect arcs, and long corridors that stretched for hundreds of meters. When they attempted to publish their findings, the National Park Service swiftly revoked their research permit. Yet one scan survived, uploaded anonymously, an unmistakable outline resembling a step pyramid buried in stone. The world dismissed it as pareidolia, until experts noted that the structure aligned perfectly with the sunrise on the equinox. Soon after those images surfaced, a classified memo, later leaked, revealed a federal order titled Directive 7 Canyon Silence. It required all personnel operating within the Marble Canyon sector to report anomalies only through secure channels. Even aerial photography was restricted. The justification: environmental protection. But the language was strangely precise, mentioning subterranean cultural assets. Historians recognized the phrase from Cold War intelligence files concerning ancient artifacts of technological origin. The public never saw the memo, yet whispers spread among park rangers. Some spoke of lights moving beneath the cliffs, others of vibrations that set the sand to trembling. The canyon, it seemed, had been declared off-limits not for safety, but secrecy. Physicist Dr. Amira Sultan proposed that the Grand Canyon's unique quartz-rich geology could amplify sound and electromagnetic energy, essentially turning the entire region into a massive resonant chamber. She hypothesized that the so-called underground city might have been designed to harness this resonance for spiritual or technological purposes. Ancient inscriptions referencing the Song of the Sun now carried new meaning. Sultan's peer-reviewed paper, Harmonics of the Hollow Earth, was accepted briefly by a major journal, then withdrawn hours before publication. Her university cited funding concerns. She later confided to colleagues that two men in suits had visited her lab, advising her to stop chasing echoes. In 2005, an encrypted dataset appeared on an archaeological forum under the username Osiris Returns. When decrypted, it revealed coordinates scattered across the globe, sites in Egypt, Peru, Tibet, and the American Southwest, all forming a pattern resembling a vast planetary grid. The Grand Canyon sat at its western nexus. The data also contained a single line of text. They built the world to remember the stars. Investigators traced the upload to a public library in Phoenix, but the computer had been wiped clean. To this day, no one has claimed authorship. Yet when satellite maps connected those coordinates, they formed a symbol unmistakable to Egyptologists, the Eye of Ra. Between 2006 and 2007, seismologists recorded low-frequency vibrations emanating from the canyon roughly every 72 hours. The pattern was consistent, each pulse lasting exactly 33 seconds. No earthquakes, landslides, or atmospheric conditions explained it. The frequency, 7.83 Hz, matched the Schumann resonance, Earth's natural electromagnetic heartbeat. To spiritual traditions, that number signified cosmic harmony. To scientists, a global mystery. If the canyon's depths were resonating at the planet's own frequency, could the ancient city have been built deliberately upon this harmonic node? Some believed it was no coincidence at all, that the ancients had mapped Earth's invisible energy long before satellites ever could. In 2008, investigative journalist Sarah Donovan embarked on a 2-year mission to uncover the truth behind Project Osiris. She interviewed retired Smithsonian staff, Navajo elders, and ex-military geologists. Her documentary, The City Beneath, Truth Buried in Stone, was set for release in 2010. But before its premiere, her editing studio was broken into. Hard drives and footage were stolen. Only a single trailer survived, posted online for 48 hours before being removed. In that clip, Donovan's voice echoed through canyon winds. "We dug for evidence and found silence, because silence was what they buried deepest." She was later found in rural Utah, alive but refusing interviews. A hiker near Horseshoe Mesa stumbled upon a rusted metal case, wedged in sandstone. Inside lay a water-damaged notebook bearing the initials MS, Michael Stanton. Pages were faded, yet legible enough to confirm authenticity. One entry read, "We opened the 9th door today." It was not a tomb, it was an engine. The sketches that followed depicted circular chambers with channels of water and crystalline conduits connecting them, structures resembling turbines. If the city beneath the canyon had harnessed energy through vibration and water flow, it may have represented an ancient form of sustainable power centuries ahead of its time. The journal vanished soon after discovery, confiscated for study. By 2011, academia stood split. A growing fringe of archaeologists demanded transparency, while institutions clung to silence. Conferences banned discussion of the canyon hypothesis. Yet independent researchers persisted, cross-referencing myth with geology, astronomy with linguistics. They found consistency where mainstream history refused to look. Symbols recurring from Egypt's Valley of the Kings to the petroglyphs of the Hopi mesas. One pattern kept appearing, the fusion of sun and serpent imagery, representing energy and eternity. To scholars outside the system, the connection was undeniable. To the establishment, it was heresy. The debate had become more than academic. It had become a war for truth itself. In 2013, an adventurer named Eli Grant launched an unauthorized drone flight over a restricted canyon sector at dawn. For 7 minutes, the drone transmitted live footage before its signal was jammed. In that brief span, viewers saw what appeared to be a stone archway embedded halfway up the cliff. A perfect rectangular opening glowing faintly blue. Before the feed cut out, the camera tilted downward, revealing a carved relief resembling an eye surrounded by rays. The footage circulated briefly online before disappearing under copyright strikes. But witnesses who saved it claimed to see movement, shadows shifting inside the entrance as if something or someone still walked those halls. By 2015, the canyon's myth had evolved into a legend of defiance. Students wrote theses, filmmakers pursued forbidden stories, and indigenous elders warned of consequences if the lower world were disturbed again. Meanwhile, quiet government projects continued under layers of bureaucracy. The Smithsonian remained mute. Yet across the globe, interest surged, because the question refused extinction. What was truly found in 1977? Perhaps it was not proof of an Egyptian colony, but something far older, evidence that ancient humanity shared one forgotten origin. As desert dusk bleeds into night, the narrator's voice whispers over the Colorado's endless current. Silence is not the end of truth. It's where truth begins to echo. By 2016, artificial intelligence had entered the field of archaeology. Digital models of the Grand Canyon, created from millions of satellite images, began revealing subtle geometric irregularities invisible to the human eye. When cross-referenced with elevation data, One section beneath Tower Butte displayed the faint outline of concentric corridors spiraling downward, a formation impossible to produce by erosion alone. Researchers fed the data into simulation software. The resulting 3D reconstruction depicted a massive, tiered complex descending miles below the surface. The model bore uncanny resemblance to ancient Mesopotamian ziggurats, except inverted, as if designed to reach into the earth rather than the heavens. That same year, a Freedom of Information Act request forced the Smithsonian to release a partial index of its restricted canyon excavation records. Though most pages were heavily redacted, a few unassuming lines ignited global controversy. Artifact class, non-cataloged, origin undetermined. Storage code, H47A, level 3. Historians immediately noted that level 3 storage referred to off-site containment, typically for sensitive materials. Yet when journalists pressed for location details, the museum claimed those files no longer existed. Weeks later, an anonymous former archivist posted a cryptic message. H47A is not storage. It's sector. The revelation suggested something stunning. Perhaps the Smithsonian wasn't hiding objects, but an entire excavation site. In 2017, linguist and symbologist Dr. K.L. Rivera announced the discovery of a repeating glyph pattern carved into several inaccessible canyon walls. Using telescopic photography and machine translation, Rivera decoded portions of the symbols. They formed a repeating phrase, "The sun sleeps below the stone." When he presented his findings at a conference in Tucson, skeptics laughed, until Rivera revealed comparative slides showing nearly identical symbols from Giza's tombs and the Indus Valley ruins. The press went silent. If authentic, it implied a prehistoric cultural link spanning continents. Within weeks, Rivera's university funding was rescinded, and his lab was temporarily closed for review. He vanished soon after, last seen boarding a small plane to Sedona. Amateur spelunkers exploring a hidden tributary near the canyon's northern rim captured something extraordinary, an acoustic anomaly. Their voices, when shouted into the cave, returned not as echoes, but as harmonic tones, layered and synchronized. Recording equipment confirmed that the sound waves were being refracted by an unknown structure deeper within. The frequencies corresponded to the same 7.83 Hz resonance detected years earlier. Experts suggested the chamber could be part of a complex designed to amplify vibration, a natural energy matrix. The team attempted to re-enter the site weeks later, but the entrance had collapsed. Some believe it was natural erosion. Others whisper it was deliberate. A leaked transcript from a 1978 Smithsonian debriefing surfaced online, purporting to feature Michael Stanton himself. Though its authenticity remains disputed, one passage stands out. "We weren't the first. The tunnels were already cleared. Someone, or something, had been there long before us." The document ends abruptly, but forensic linguists verified the diction matched Stanton's known writings. More chillingly, a second voice in the transcript refers to activation thresholds and containment fields. If real, it suggests that the excavation uncovered not merely relics, but a mechanism, one designed to remain dormant. Whether that mechanism was symbolic, mechanical, or something else entirely remains the canyon's deepest riddle. By 2018, satellite archaeologists expanded the scope of their investigation. When overlaying global anomalies from the pyramids of Giza to the Nazca lines, every site aligned along precise geodesic lines, forming what geophysicists call ley networks. Astonishingly, one of the strongest intersections lay directly beneath the Grand Canyon. Indigenous elders had long described this area as a doorway to the lower world. Scientists now wondered if these ley crossings represented something physical, natural pathways of Earth's electromagnetic energy. If ancient civilizations possessed this knowledge, then the canyon's buried city wasn't random. It was placed intentionally, a node of planetary resonance, connecting Earth to the cosmos itself. Astronomer Dr. Mei Lin, analyzing celestial patterns carved into nearby petroglyphs, found alignments that mapped not to Earth's current sky, but to the night heavens as they appeared 13,000 years ago. This staggering conclusion placed the carvings at the end of the last ice age, long before any known Egyptian or Native American civilization. The implication was clear. Whoever built or recorded the city beneath the canyon may have been part of a lost prehistoric culture, one that spanned oceans and recorded the stars. Dr. Lynn's paper was labeled Astromythology and retracted, yet her star map remains online, its coordinates hauntingly precise. A small, triangular relic surfaced on the black market in 2019. Composed of a copper-gold alloy unknown to modern metallurgy, it bore engravings identical to those found on Stanton's recovered notes. Independent tests revealed traces of radiation, suggesting it had once been exposed to intense energy. The artifact was purchased anonymously, then traced to a private collection in Zurich. Experts who studied the photographs noticed something even more shocking. The fragment appeared to be part of a larger circular disc, perhaps a mechanism, a door, or a symbolic seal. If it truly originated from the Grand Canyon, it may be the only surviving piece of the ancient city's technology. By 2020, the Grand Canyon had become more than a geological wonder. It was a spiritual destination. Pilgrims, mystics, and historians flocked to its rim seeking connection to what lay beneath. Some reported vivid dreams of corridors illuminated by blue light. Others described hearing chants echoing through the stone when the wind was still. Native guides cautioned them. The canyon remembers. It speaks only to those who listen. As the world wrestled with turmoil and uncertainty, the buried city became a metaphor, an image of humanity's forgotten roots, buried beneath centuries of denial and control. Yet beneath the surface, truth continued to stir. In 2021, seismic monitors detected a new phenomenon, a rhythmic pulse beneath the canyon, recurring precisely at midnight during the equinox. Its waveform matched the earlier desert frequencies, but with one startling difference. It was intensifying. Instruments recorded the pulse expanding outward, resonating across multiple states. When overlaid onto global frequency data, the pattern connected to similar anomalies in Giza, Stonehenge, and Machu Picchu, all activating simultaneously. To scientists, it was coincidence. To believers, a sign. To the filmmakers chronicling this mystery, it was cinematic poetry, a world whispering from its deepest layers, asking if perhaps the ancients had never vanished, only waited for us to remember. In early 2022, a retired U.S. Geological Survey technician known only as Harlan released a cache of declassified seismic records from the late 1970s. Among them were anomalies that matched the coordinates of the alleged Stanton site. The data showed controlled detonations, small, precise, and repeated over several days. Harlan claimed they were entrance-clearing operations funded under a joint Smithsonian Army Corps of Engineers contract. When reporters asked for verification, the Smithsonian dismissed his claims as fiction, but Harlan provided one final piece of proof, an official document stamped Canyon Containment Project, Phase 2, 1977. The signature? A Smithsonian field director whose name had been erased from public record. Weeks after Harlan's leak, a grainy 16mm film surfaced on an encrypted server. The footage showed miners wearing 1970s-era gear descending into a cavern with floodlights. Walls of smooth stone curved around them, covered in what appeared to be hieroglyphic-like carvings. One frame captured a massive doorway sealed with a metallic disc. On the reel's final seconds, the camera shook violently before cutting to static. Experts authenticated the film stock as genuine, dated to 1977. Whoever filmed it had been there. The footage spread online briefly before being scrubbed from all major platforms. Yet mirrored copies still circulate in digital archives, fragments of forbidden truth. For decades, the institution's silence had fueled speculation. But in 2022, facing mounting pressure, the Smithsonian issued a formal statement. No evidence exists of an ancient city beneath the Grand Canyon, nor any involvement in related excavations. Yet the phrasing intrigued journalists. They said no evidence exists, not that none ever had. Linguistic analysts pointed out the careful legal tone. Meanwhile, internal emails revealed curators privately debating whether to prepare contingency exhibits. What contingency could require preparation if there was truly nothing to hide? To the public, denial sounded like confession wrapped in formality. For the first time, the world began to sense the cracks forming in the wall of secrecy. In 2023, mass interest exploded. Documentaries, podcasts, and virtual tours of the Grand Canyon's restricted zones went viral. Millions began demanding government transparency. University departments quietly reopened the lost civilization debate. Even mainstream science magazines hinted at anomalous patterns in North American prehistory. Indigenous historians stepped forward, asserting that their oral traditions had always spoken of a people who came from below, bearing light and knowledge. The ancient myth of the Sipapu, a gateway from the underworld, suddenly gained renewed relevance. Across cultures, stories aligned like puzzle pieces. What was once a conspiracy now stood on the threshold of revelation. Humanity was finally ready to look beneath the stone. Unable to dig physically, researchers turned to digital archaeology. Using AI-driven subsurface imaging, a team led by Dr. Elise Navarro reconstructed 3D seismic echoes into virtual models. What they found stunned even skeptics: a perfectly symmetrical network of chambers and corridors, extending nearly 5 miles beneath the canyon's northern rim. The precision matched the proportions of the Great Pyramid of Giza, multiplied by 3. Navarro's findings were broadcast globally before her servers were mysteriously shut down. She later said in an interview, "If this was nature's work, then nature thinks in geometry." Within weeks, her university revoked her credentials. Yet the files had already spread across the world. Late 2023 brought a phenomenon no one could explain. Tourists camping near Marble Canyon reported hearing deep, rhythmic sounds at night, tones so low they vibrated through the ground. Some described lights flickering along the canyon walls, pulsing with the rhythm. Scientists rushed to study the event. The frequencies corresponded exactly with the canyon pulse first recorded in 2021, but now it had tripled in strength. Power surges were detected in nearby weather stations, and animal migration patterns shifted unnaturally. Was the canyon awakening? The locals called it the singing stone. The government called it a natural resonance anomaly. But the world was no longer convinced. On March 12, 2024, satellite footage captured something extraordinary. Faint beams of bluish light emerging from 3 points within the canyon, visible for precisely 9 minutes. Amateur astronomers confirmed the phenomenon was not atmospheric or electrical. The beams converged skyward, aligning perfectly with the constellation Orion. Witnesses described an eerie silence that followed, as if the entire desert held its breath. Within hours, the National Guard cordoned off the area. Official reports cited military exercises, yet leaked satellite data proved otherwise. The canyon's electromagnetic field had surged to levels not seen anywhere on Earth. The lights of Orion, once myth, had become terrifyingly real. 1 week later, an independent researcher named Julian Cross live-streamed from a vantage point overlooking the restricted zone. Using long-range lenses, he captured clear footage of a metallic doorway embedded deep in the canyon's wall, half exposed, shimmering faintly. Before the stream abruptly cut off, Cross said one final sentence. They opened it. Within hours, his social media vanished, and his home was reportedly seized for national security review. But copies of his stream circulated globally, sparking the largest public protest in Smithsonian history. What was once legend had entered the digital age, unstoppable, uncontainable. Truth, amplified by millions of voices echoing through the modern canyon of the internet. In mid-2024, whistleblowers within the Department of the Interior leaked a 300-page document titled Canyon Containment Report. It confirmed controlled excavations at Site Delta 47, describing metallic hallways and non-biological material of ancient fabrication. The document was quickly classified, but journalists obtained enough excerpts to ignite worldwide frenzy. The report mentioned radiation signatures consistent with an unknown energy source, one still active. It ended with a single chilling line: seal integrity must be maintained at all costs. For the first time, the world had its confirmation. The city was real. The Smithsonian had known all along. And the question now wasn't whether it existed, but what it was protecting us from. In the months following the leaks, the Colorado River flooded its lower channels in an unprecedented surge. Locals claimed the river was reclaiming the depths. Native elders interpreted it as balance, the earth covering what man should not disturb. Scientists studying the currents found magnetic fluctuations in the water itself, as though it carried electrical memory. Amid the chaos, one final drone captured the canyon at twilight. Mist rising from unseen vents and a faint blue glow beneath the surface of the river. The narrator's voice fades in over sweeping aerial shots. Perhaps the ancient city was never lost. Perhaps it sleeps beneath the river, waiting, as all truth does, for the courage of discovery. By early 2025, the world's major scientific bodies convened behind closed doors. Representatives from NASA, the Smithsonian, and the Department of Energy gathered under the Tidal Council of Subterranean Anomalies. Leaked memos revealed one purpose: containment strategy. The minutes described energy readings beneath the Grand Canyon escalating in rhythm and intensity, forming what physicists called a georesonant harmonic. A scientist in attendance, later a whistleblower, confessed anonymously, "We realized it wasn't a machine turning on, it was the Earth responding." For centuries, humanity had studied the heavens for answers. Now, beneath the canyon's stone heart, it seemed the planet itself was beginning to speak back. New imaging data from the canyon's restricted zone revealed pulses of structured light, patterns repeating in cycles, resembling binary code. Linguists analyzed the intervals and discovered recurring numerical sequences: 3, 6, and 9. The same ratios theorized by Nikola Tesla to be the key to understanding the universe. When rendered as sound, the light patterns produced harmonic frequencies identical to ancient chants recorded by Hopi and Egyptian priests. The revelation shook both scientific and spiritual communities. Were the ancients encoding universal mathematics through ritual? Or was the canyon's buried city transmitting something older than language? Communication written in light itself? Dr. Navarro, reinstated after her earlier suppression, presented a daring hypothesis. The underground city wasn't merely a dwelling. It was a planetary resonator, built to stabilize Earth's electromagnetic field during a catastrophic shift. Geological record from the late Ice Age showed magnetic reversals, solar storms, and extinction-level disruptions. The city's architecture, its spiral tunnels, quartz veins, and water conduits, could have functioned like a tuning fork, channeling the planet's chaotic energy into harmony. If true, it meant the builders were not primitive migrants from Egypt, but survivors of a forgotten epic, custodians of knowledge humanity had buried alongside their creation. After decades of silence, the Smithsonian finally broke. In a globally broadcast statement, Director Helena Carter addressed the controversy. Certain field operations conducted in 1977 uncovered archaeological materials that remain under federal protection. Their nature is extraordinary, and their implications are not yet understood. The admission sent shockwaves through academia. While no images were released, Carter confirmed the existence of structural cavities of non-natural origin. Protesters flooded the museum steps, demanding transparency. Across the world, people gathered to watch history unmask itself. What began as denial had become the most significant scientific confession of the century. Astronomers noticed that the canyon's magnetic readings peaked exactly when Orion's belt reached zenith on June 21, 2025, the summer solstice. It was the same alignment recorded in Stanton's 1977 notes and mirrored in countless ancient monuments across the world. Cameras captured faint luminescence rising from fissures in the canyon floor, moving like rivers of blue fire. Indigenous elders led ceremonies, calling it the rejoining of the lights. For 9 minutes, the earth and sky appeared to breathe together, energy flowing upward, then fading into stillness. Whether spiritual or scientific, that moment marked something undeniable, a synchronization between humanity and the cosmos, rediscovered at last. Shortly after the solstice event, divers exploring a flooded tunnel discovered a tablet sealed in crystal. Symbols adorned its surface, identical to those documented in Stanton's lost journal. When translated by linguists, the message read, "We built beneath the river to hold the light of the sun. When the stars return, so shall the song." Carbon dating placed the artifact at over 13,000 years old. It predated Egypt, Sumer, and every known civilization. The implications were staggering. The ancients hadn't just built monuments to honor the cosmos. They engineered resonance machines to preserve planetary equilibrium. The canyon's secret was not of gold or gods, but of survival. As instruments continued monitoring the site, scientists recorded a final pulse emanating from beneath the canyon. Louder, purer, and perfectly harmonic. It rippled across the planet, subtly altering magnetic fields and atmospheric pressure. For a brief moment, satellites captured an energy halo surrounding Earth's poles. Then silence. The pulse ceased, never to recur. But something had changed. Global lightning frequency dropped. Animal migration stabilized. Even Earth's Schumann resonance, the heartbeat of the planet, shifted slightly toward harmony. Whether coincidence or consequence, the effect was measurable. Humanity had reawakened a piece of the Earth's ancient song, long silenced beneath layers of denial and stone. Months later, Michael Stanton's original journal was anonymously mailed to the Library of Congress. Inside its final pages was a note written in trembling ink. It wasn't lost. It was waiting. They told us to bury the truth because the world wasn't ready. If you're reading this, you are. The handwriting was confirmed authentic. Stanton had survived his disappearance, hidden away by those who wished his discovery forgotten. His words closed the loop between past and present. The city had not only survived beneath the canyon, it had endured within human memory, encoded in myth until science caught up with faith. By late 2025, a new wing opened at the Smithsonian, the Hall of the Forgotten Earth. Within its dimly lit chambers stood holographic recreations of the underground city, spiral halls, crystalline arches, and ancient conduits mapped from Dr. Navarro's digital scans. Visitors walked through sound and light that resonated to the canyon's true frequencies. For the first time, the public could hear the tones once buried beneath centuries of denial. Children touched walls that hummed softly. Scientists lectured beneath glowing constellations, and the world began to understand. History was not linear, but circular, like the canyon itself, carved by the same ancient rhythm. The film's final sequence fades in over sweeping drone shots of the Grand Canyon at dawn. The narrator's voice returns, low and reverent. In the year 1977, the discovery was made and buried. But the Earth does not forget. Beneath these stones, beneath the river, lies the memory of a civilization that once tuned the planet's heartbeat to harmony. We call it legend. We call it mystery. But perhaps it is a message from the ancients to us. Protect the Earth, for it remembers everything. The camera drifts upward toward the rising sun, light spilling over the canyon walls. The screen fades to black as a single tone hums, low, resonant, eternal. In the months following the Smithsonian's disclosure, humanity entered an age of introspection. Across continents, people gathered at sacred sites, Stonehenge, Giza, Chichen Itza, each searching for the resonance the canyon had awakened. Scientists collaborated with indigenous elders, merging mathematics with mythology. Governments proposed international councils to study geoconscious structures. Humanity's oldest question, where did we come from, was no longer bound to land or lineage. The canyon's discovery had reshaped our sense of ancestry, proving civilization was not a ladder, but a circle. Every sunrise over the canyon seemed to whisper, "You are older than you remember." Painters, musicians, and filmmakers became the new historians. Inspired by the canyon's harmonics, symphonies were composed using the exact frequencies measured beneath the Colorado River. Canvases bloomed with spirals and starlit geometry. Virtual reality creators reconstructed the subterranean city, allowing millions to walk its glowing corridors. A movement known as resonant art emerged, art designed to heal through vibration. Galleries echoed softly, tuned to Earth's frequency of 7.83 Hertz. What began as an archaeological revelation had become an artistic revolution, blurring the line between science and soul. Humanity wasn't just remembering its past, it was learning to feel it again. After decades of ridicule and suppression, academic institutions reopened debate with humility. Archaeologists, once labeled pseudoscientists, were invited back to the table. The new field of planetary archaeology emerged, studying ancient structures through physics, energy, and cultural resonance. Universities partnered with indigenous councils to reinterpret myths as encoded knowledge systems. The wall between myth and science crumbled, revealing that both had been guardians of truth in different tongues. A generation of students vowed to seek knowledge without arrogance. The Grand Canyon had taught academia its most painful and beautiful lesson. Discovery means nothing if it silences those who knew first. Religious leaders across the world struggled and then adapted. The buried city's revelation was not an assault on faith, but an expansion of it. Temples began integrating ancient harmonics into worship. Cathedrals echoed with chants tuned to Earth's pulse. The Vatican released a statement acknowledging that the divine may dwell as much in creation's architecture as in heaven's. Indigenous elders, long marginalized, were invited to share their cosmologies publicly. For the first time, science and spirituality walked side by side through the same canyon, both listening for the same echo. Humanity was not divided by belief, but united by wonder. The resonance technology discovered beneath the canyon inspired a new wave of engineering. Scientists developed energy systems mimicking its design, hydrovibrational converters that drew power from natural frequency rather than combustion. Cities began testing clean energy derived from sound and motion. The blueprint of an ancient civilization had become the key to a sustainable future. Economies trembled, oil empires faltered, and innovation rose from stone. The Grand Canyon, once a wound in the earth, now pulsed as a model of healing. Proof that progress could be drawn not from extraction, but from harmony. Around the world, forgotten traditions re-emerged. The Dogon of Mali revisited their star maps. The Maori sang of the lights beneath, and the Hopi reaffirmed prophecies of the blue star Kachina. Humanity realized that myths across continents had always described the same story, memory fragmented through time. People began tracing their ancestry not through bloodlines, but through knowledge lines. The canyon's secret had rekindled collective memory, reminding us that every culture carried a fragment of the first civilization song. The echo was no longer local. It had become global, vibrating through hearts, languages, and time itself. In the wake of revelation, philosophers asked a new question. If the ancients built to preserve harmony, what have we built to destroy it? Conferences replaced blame with reflection. The canyon story became a mirror for humanity's choices. Our cities, technologies, and wars all resonating at frequencies of chaos. Thinkers proposed that civilization survival depended on returning to resonance, not dominance. A philosopher wrote, "The ancients built from listening. We build from forgetting." In the end, the canyon had not simply unveiled history. It had revealed the deafness of modernity, and the urgent need to hear the earth once more. In 2025's closing months, the United Nations declared the Grand Canyon a World Sanctuary Zone. Pilgrims from all nations journeyed to its rim, not to conquer or mine, but to listen. Silence became sacred again. Meditation domes were built from red sandstone, aligned with solstice light. Scientists and shamans shared meals beneath starlit skies, exchanging equations for stories. No monuments were erected, only paths. From above, the canyon looked unchanged, but beneath, humanity's collective pulse had shifted. The canyon was no longer a symbol of denial. It was the planet's cathedral, echoing the sound of reconciliation. A generation born after the disclosure grew up knowing the canyon as the heart of the world. Schools taught the unity of ancient science and modern physics. Children sang songs inspired by the canyon's frequencies, their melodies recorded by satellites as part of global resonance research. In classrooms, they spoke not of lost civilizations, but remembered ones. When asked what they wanted to become, many answered, listeners. The discovery that once divided nations had become humanity's compass, guiding a future where memory and science no longer fought, but harmonized, like the twin currents of the Colorado itself. The screen fades to the Grand Canyon at dusk. Wind hums softly through the ancient stone corridors. The narrator's final words rise over the sound of the river. We began this story in 1977 with discovery, denial, and silence. But silence was never empty. It was the waiting breath of truth. Beneath the Grand Canyon lies not just a city, but a mirror, showing us who we were, who we are, and who we might become. Every echo you hear is a heartbeat from the first builders, reminding us, the earth remembers. And now, so do we. The final shot, the stars of Orion reflected in the river's dark surface, heaven meeting earth once again. As the decades passed, the Colorado River became more than a stream of water. It became a timeline. Every ripple carried memory, every current a story. Scientists discovered that the river's flow had subtly altered since the 1977 dig, its rhythm echoing frequencies found in the buried city's chambers. Elders said the river was singing again. Pilgrims came to listen, to sit in silence beside the canyon's edge and feel that rhythm in their bones. For the first time, humanity understood water not just as a resource, but as an archive. The river was not eroding the canyon. It was remembering it. In 2031, a deep space probe orbiting Mars detected harmonic signatures matching those beneath the Grand Canyon. The same resonance, the same frequency. Astrobiologists trembled, philosophers wept. The idea that the builders of the canyon city may not have been isolated to Earth was no longer fantasy. It was physics. Governments convened in secret, then failed to contain the news. Humanity stood at the precipice of an even greater realization. The canyon was not merely a remnant of the past. It was a node in a cosmic network. The stars above the desert were no longer distant. They were home. Decades after denial, the Smithsonian issued its most important public statement in history. We were wrong. The institution that once buried the truth now became its keeper. The lost artifacts, those quietly archived away in 1977, were finally displayed in a global exhibition titled The Builders of the Beneath. Millions visited, standing before carved tablets that hummed faintly when approached. The Smithsonian, humbled, became a symbol of transformation, a reminder that truth cannot be buried forever. Institutions can fall, rebuild, and rise again, just as civilizations do. The canyon had not destroyed the Smithsonian, it had purified it. When seismic equipment was left deep within the canyon, researchers discovered something extraordinary. The stone itself was resonating with human emotion. During global moments of unity, peace marches, collective meditations, the canyon's frequencies strengthened. When the world suffered violence or despair, they dimmed. Somehow, the ancient builders had woven consciousness into architecture. The canyon was listening. It reflected us back to ourselves. Scientists couldn't explain it, priests couldn't contain it, and poets simply called it the Earth's memory made audible. Every grain of sand became part of a universal song, one we have forgotten how to hear until now. All around the world, people began to dream of the canyon. In India, children drew its labyrinths without ever seeing them. In Iceland, old songs resurfaced with lyrics describing a city of sun beneath the red stone. Collective memory was awakening. Humanity began to realize that memory is not stored in the brain alone. It is stored in the planet, in the air, in vibration itself. The canyon had opened a door not just to history, but to consciousness. What we remembered of the ancients was never gone. It had been waiting beneath our own awareness for us to listen. Linguists decoding the carvings beneath the canyon discovered a word repeated across hundreds of tablets, Suru. When translated through multiple ancient tongues, it meant the time before time. The city's architects had not recorded a history. They had encoded a prophecy. They foresaw an age when humanity would lose harmony and drown in noise. And yet, they also foresaw our return. The canyon, then, was never just a ruin. It was a clock counting down to the moment humanity would awaken again. That moment had come. The ancient clock had struck its final tone, remembrance. In 2040, under the last rays of an Arizona sunset, explorers once again descended into the canyon's depths. What they found stunned the world. A chamber, previously sealed by flood sediment, had opened. Inside glowed a crystalline structure, a perfect sphere emitting soft, pulsating light. It matched no known mineral on Earth. When approached, it projected star maps of ancient constellations, aligning precisely with Orion's belt and Sirius. Scientists called it the seed. Elders called it the heart of the Earth. It was not a relic, it was alive. The canyon had not just hidden history, it had protected creation. That same year, astronomers recorded a rare celestial alignment. Orion, Sirius, and the Pleiades formed a perfect geometric triad directly above the canyon. At that exact moment, sensors detected an enormous electromagnetic pulse. Gentle, harmonic, not destructive. Across the world, the Schumann resonance briefly increased. People reported vivid dreams, visions of cities made of light. The event became known as the Great Alignment. Some said the Earth was resetting. Others said humanity was being tuned. Whatever it was, the canyon once again became the bridge between the stars and the soil, the place where heaven remembered Earth. Centuries from now, historians will not speak of discovery or denial. They will speak of return. The canyon's secret taught humanity that progress is not linear. It is cyclical. We rise, we fall, and we remember. Future civilizations will build their temples in resonance with Earth's pulse, guided by what the canyon taught. They will not see the ancients as myths, but as ancestors. And when the river carves new paths through stone, it will carry the same song that echoed in 1977, the song that began this story. The circle of knowledge will close, only to open again. The film ends beneath a starlit sky. The Grand Canyon lies silent, vast, and alive. The camera pans slowly across its walls, revealing faint glimmers of gold, the reflection of ancient etchings now visible once more. The narrator's voice returns one last time. Nothing buried stays lost forever. Every echo finds its listener. Beneath the Grand Canyon lies the memory of humanity's first dream, and its final truth, that we were never alone, and we were never forgotten. The screen fades to black. A single tone lingers, a low, resonant hum. The sound of the Earth remembering itself.